Thanks, Claude. We'll start gearing up towards Florida. We did a little work last week in terms of introducing those guys on Thursday, and today we'll get back to work on these guys. I know our guys will be excited to play in Jacksonville, an incredible stadium and atmosphere. I know our players love playing in this neutral site game. It's just kind of different in terms of the start of it, the fans, the split crowd. It seems to be a momentum flow type game because team that has momentum is really at home for that moment, and then it goes back and forth. And it's been a game of momentum swings. A lot of respect for Billy. I always have liked Billy a lot. He does a really good job as a football coach, as a man, person. Worked on a staff with him. Admire him and the way he coaches and goes about things. He's very detail oriented. No stone left unturned, and they play that way. And got a lot of respect for the way they play, and I know a lot of guys on their staff. It'll be a physical game. It always is. I know our kids will be looking forward to it, and with that, I'll open it up.
Yeah, Coach, I was reading today. I think since 2000, Georgia quarterbacks who are facing Florida for the first time in their career are 1-9. I'm just curious, what about this matchup makes it really, really difficult for guys going for it the first time?
Couldn't tell you that. Don't know. Didn't know the stat. I think it's all about working and executing within your offense, which is what we'll ask Carson to do, is to play within the offense. And he's a quarterback with a lot of experience under his belt, and I know he'll be excited to play in Jacksonville.
Kirby, to your left, their wide receiver Pearsall has more yards receiving than the next three guys combined. What makes him so effective when he gets the ball? Is it yards after catch? Is he just explosive in space? What makes him so elite?
Well, I would say he's been available. Like he's been healthy and been very consistent for them. They've got some other guys that when you just look at stats, sometimes it can be misleading. They have guys who've missed games, so therefore they've missed opportunities to get stats. He's been very consistent. He's an explosive playmaker. He's tough. He does a lot of things. They move him around a lot. He's not just a sit there and play guy. He's worked the slot. He's done double moves. He's been a vertical guy. Makes a lot of plays. But they have other weapons. Some of those guys have been injured. They lost a kid for a year. They lost Grimes there. Lost a couple guys for a couple games. So it's been a myriad of injuries that have led to the stats being that way.
Kirby, after Florida beat South Carolina, Billy talked about that it was evident to him that Florida team was growing up. Is that evident to you on what you've seen just getting ready for this game, how they have improved as a team over the course of this year?
Yes, they've played their best football probably the last two weeks or so. And you look at the statistics on their quarterback, he's probably, maybe the number one quarterback in the country for 2 games. In terms of the way he's played, you can tell he's got a lot of confidence in their offense and their system. They're able to execute, do a lot of things with him. He handles it well. He makes a lot of good run checks for them. Has done a really nice job of not putting them in harm's way in his decision-making process. So they're playing at a really high level right now and doing a great job with it.
Coach, just wondering what you've seen from Oscar Delp in these 10 days or so of preparation, and has Brock been able to rejoin the team in any capacity so far physically?
Delp's been fine. We're not asking Delp to do anything different than he's normally done, nor anybody on the team. Brock's been at walkthroughs. He's been out there and with the team. Some of it last week, some of it different times.
Are you expecting Robert Robinson to be available Saturday? I don't know what his recovery is looking like. And does Tate Ratledge in with an elbow of some sort?
Tate had an elbow coming out of the Vanderbilt game, but he's been fine. He practiced all last week with that elbow, and Rod was able to go a lot of last week as well.
Montgomery Van Work's been with the program for about 3-4 years. Just what's been his impact in his rise, kind of, as a coach and on the field and connection with the players?
Well, Gummy does a great job. He's a coach's son. He's grown up around football his entire life. He's a quarterback, understands the game. He does a nice job assisting our offensive staff, with weekly things. Coach Bobo puts him in charge of things. He takes those things very serious, and he'll be a good coach.
Yeah, how are things looking for Amarius Mims and Xavier Truss as they both recover from their ankle injuries?
Yeah, we'll find out a lot more today. They both were able to do some different things last week in the off week, and a lot of rehab, a lot of maintenance, a lot of getting back. But until I see them my 30 day, I probably wouldn't be a good judge to be able to tell.
Coach, I think a couple weeks ago I asked you about Florida defensively. You said they were similar but not the same. And when you have a defense that does kind of some stuff that you do you ever walk into Coach Bobo's office and be like, hey, look, like this stresses us, or do you ever, I guess have meetings of the minds?
Well, we do that every week. I mean, there's some merit to watching what teams do defensively, and we get to see the teams in our league on defense as we watch offenses. So you overlap, some with teams, and you might, bring an idea up here or there, but a lot of times offensively, they look at things through a different lens. They look at they're trying to measure our strengths and their strengths against each other, and our weaknesses and their weaknesses against each other, and try to figure that out. But it doesn't. You can get too caught up in the scheme. I think a lot of times this game boils down to physicality, line of scrimmage, team that can rush the ball, team that tackles well, team that doesn't turn it over, and those don't have to do with schemes.
Coach, hard not to notice the stats that Graham Mertz has put up and the kind of way he's played lately, and you counter that with he's been sacked a lot. I think 19 times on that team. But what have you seen from Mertz? Just your comments on his game, and how do you defend this guy? Is it all about pressure?
No, it's never all about pressure. I mean, it's about controlling the line of scrimmage and not giving up explosives. Who can not let somebody run the ball and not give up explosives? That's what you're looking for, and that's what football's become, a game of explosives, and teams are trying to find them. They throw the ball vertically down the field. Billy always has. I mean, a team that runs the ball well, that's what they should do. They've got a stable of backs that are really good, as good of backs as we've faced. Gene Wilson is an elite player. He's the guy that's missed a couple games and is a weapon in that he breaks lots of tackles. They are creative in their ways of getting him the football, and I think Mertz knows that. He does a great job within Billy's system of knowing when to take the shot, when to take the check down, when to put him in the right play. If you're just in the right play more often, you tend to have more success, and he's done a really good job of that for them.
Coach, obviously a rivalry game. What do you kind of tell these young guys as they go into their first experience in this game between you guys and Florida?
Yeah, that welcome to the SEC. I mean, every game's going to be a rivalry game when you get in the SEC. They're all tough games. This one's unique because of where it's played, and it'll be a new experience for some of our guys. But I think that's you forget about that after the whistle blows and you kick it off. You get out there and go play.
Kirby, another quick question on Brock. I mean, his work ethic's kind of legendary around here. Everybody always mentions it. I just wanted to, how's he attacked his rehab thus far? Is his recovery from it? Is he able to bear any weight yet off of that injury?
I'm not going to focus on that right now. I think that's all speculation, and I'm not getting into the speculation part of it. I mean, most important thing right now is our guys and getting prepared for Florida.
Yeah, you were talking about the line of scrimmage. Your offensive line, just how would you kind of sum up the state of that group coming out of the bye week after some of the self-scouting they were able to do last week?
I think it's important that we get more depth. We're an injury away from being down this guy, that guy. We're also trying to get guys back. So it's like you're always a balance of who you are. We tried really hard last week to work on fundamentals. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to trick people in our league. They've seen every play. It's not like a new play is going to win you the game. What's going to win you the game is, can you block better than the other team? Can you execute? Can you protect the ball? Can you convert third downs? Can you play well in the red area? Those are the things we tried to work on. And that's offensive line group. I'm very proud and pleased of the work ethic, the leadership, the practices we have. And we have an interesting group. We have a group that has played a lot of games. And we have a group that has not played a lot of games. So you have experience there, and you're trying to balance out how you get the older group better without injury, and how you get the younger group more reps at the same time.
Kirby, doing some on fourth downs. Coaches are getting taking more risky decisions these days? Probably analytics, probably just the need to score more points. How much of it is that, and how much has all that kind of changed your own thinking on those fourth down calls?
I think it depends on the flow of the game. I think it depends on your defense and your kicking game. You know, if you're not giving up a lot to take a smaller risk, then you're gaining a chance, you know, to score points. And at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to score more points than the other team. I would probably say historically, teams have been probably overly conservative. Coaches have been overly conservative, and they're probably erring towards overly aggressive. I don't know. It's hard to say what's right or wrong. It only comes out right if it works, and it only comes out wrong if it doesn't. But I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as, can you out execute the other team, and can you stop the other team, and what do you think the point totals are going to be?
Two questions. How did Kendall Milton look last week? I know you were precautionary about his MCL. And then a couple weeks ago, you said that you watched every third and short and fourth and short around the SEC and kind of saw what all the teams are doing. What are your takeaways from that? How often are they converting those? You have a pretty good third down conversion yourself. What are your takeaways from that?
Well, when I've referenced looking at that, I'm talking about 3rd and 1 and 2 and 4th and 1 and 2, which are, you know, we're not in those all the time. There's just, those come up periodically within games. I think they're important to determine the outcome of games, is your ability to get a yard when you got to have a yard. And it's never been harder in all of college football to gain a yard when you have to gain a yard, because defenses play you differently now than they have in the past. There's no concession of a yard in our league. So I just like watching it to see what's out there, what people are doing, and how they're doing it. Kendall was good last week. He pushed through and did a good job, and we'll see where he's at today.
Kirby, this team obviously has won a bunch of games in a row. Curious what you do to kind of alleviate the stress level they might feel, you know, heading into big games, knowing that you know, they're part of a program that's had a lot of success.
Don't think about it a lot. I mean, I don't. It doesn't. What consumes me is how we're going to gain a yard, what we're going to do in this situation, what we're going to do at practice. I can't speak for every kid on the team, but the focus is not on the wins and losses of the games. Like I've said all the time, that's going to come to an end. I've been part of a lot of streaks. That's going to come to an end at some point, and when it does, we'll worry about the next game. But I don't think you can be consumed with that thought process or think that way. You got to think towards what you can do to help your team win.
Coach, what's been the biggest point of emphasis that you've been preaching to your guys this week at practice during the bye week, especially with this upcoming game against Florida?
Yeah, it was focus. It's about us. That's all it was about last week. It's not about Florida or anybody we play. It's about us. And this week it'll be about us again, and just be about us getting ready for Florida. So last week was, you know, a work week, a chance for us to get better, and in some ways, refueling to restart. And refueling looks different ways sometimes. It's not all rest and recovery. It's where can you get better, and where can you create an advantage for yourself.
Yeah, with Oscar Delp and him getting a chance to sort of see Brock and how competitive he is and how hard he works in practice, how much do you think, you know, being in proximity to Brock has helped him in his development, regardless of even these last 10 days or so, just over the course of his college career at this point?
Yeah, I think being around Darnell and Brock last year was a great learning tool for him, because from the side of being a Y and a physical blocker, he got to see Darnell and be around Darnell, and he got to see Brock do the things he's done. So his growth has been good. I don't know that if he didn't have those two, he would be where he is, because those two demanded that he do things right in order to get on the field. He had to earn the right to play, and he's earned that by how he's practiced and how he's played.
There was a kind of, to us, there was open competition at that other cornerback spot before the season started. Then Dalen Everett's been there. How would you assess his play through half the season?
He's been good. He's done good things. I mean, I think he's starting to play with a little more confidence. He's gotten to go out there and make some plays with his back to the ball. Had a couple big stops in games. He's a good physical tackler. He's not afraid of contact. Continues to work to get better, and Julian as well. Julian's played a considerable amount of minutes. He's gotten a lot of work with Kamari, you know, being up and down and having some injuries over there. He's he's gotten a lot of work in practice. So the two of those guys, I look at them as co-starters and continue to improve and get better.
Hey, Kirby, over your last 7+ years here, has your philosophy of where this game is played changed? And would you be open to maybe a home, and then a Jacksonville and Mercedes-Benz kind of a rotation?
Don't really even think about it anymore. I mean, we are where we are, and that really has not even crossed my mind besides the off season when I get asked about it. I'm a lot more concerned with how we play than where we play.
Kirby, I think Carson got a UGA offer when maybe James Coley came on as coordinator. Do you remember what, as a staff, you all looked at that time in terms of why you wanted him to become part of this program?
I don't remember the exact timing of it. I really don't. I'll be misspoken if I did. I know that what we liked is his leadership. He won a state championship in the toughest classification of Florida in a school in Jacksonville that has not had many teams win that level of competition. It's very impressive what he was able to do there at Mandarin in terms of leadership and being a quarterback at a high level and playing against some really good high school football teams. So to me, that was that, and the demeanor and approach that he has to the game was something that attracted us to him. But in terms of when that went about, I don't really recall.
Yeah, Kirby, you mentioned Carson being from Jacksonville. Obviously, he's pretty notoriously flatlined. Have you noticed any difference in him going back home this weekend?
Nothing. I mean, nothing from last week. I thought he was good last week, and continues to work on the things that are going to give us a chance to win. Him being accurate, him making good decisions, him putting us in right plays. He's a bright kid. He sees a lot of defense in the offseason and walkthroughs here. So when you see a lot of defense, you've been exposed to a lot of things, and I think that gives him confidence. And he knows it's not all on him. He's got people around him to help him.
Earlier in the season, Peyton Woodring missed a couple field goals, but you stuck with him. You said that he had a chance to be really good. All of a sudden, he's hitting a lot. What changed?
I don't know. I mean, it's like a hitter, man. You go out there, you can't get a base hit every single time. His mental approach has, I think, been better. I think creating a thought process of being a kicker. He was a position player in high school, so he never had the thought process of sitting on the sideline and wondering, when am I going to go in? When am I going to kick? When's this going to happen? And there's a lot of thoughts that can go through your head during that time. And being a position player, he never had those thoughts. So this were his first football games of, when am I going out there? One shot, one opportunity. I got to go make the most of it. And I think he's grown a little more accustomed to having to do that. And he's had some help from people here in our organization, but he's had help from the kickers outside our building that kicked here at one time to help him as well.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Yeah, obviously a few years ago, Marcus suffered a pretty bad injury in this game. From that point on, especially to what he has been able to do for you guys this season, how have you seen him grow and what he brings not just to this offense but to this team as a whole?
Well, the biggest thing he's grown in is a leadership standpoint. When that happened, he was a young kid coming on strong in a receiving core that was very thin, and he helped us tremendously. As a freshman, very confident and good playmaker. And fast forward to now, he's an emotional leader, a toughness leader, believes in doing things the right way, and sells the culture and value of the organization really well. Thanks.
Thank you.